Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Get to Know Gives Back. I'm your host, Quinn Pennifer, Manager of Brand Initiatives for the Gazette. Also have the honor of getting to work with our area nonprofits through our program, Gazette Gives Back. We select 31 nonprofits every year from the area, a chance for them to receive some free advertising credit, as well as get a chance to connect and come together and network and learn as a class. And of course, we get to do this fun podcast series. So that's all thanks to our presenting sponsor, Collins Community Credit Union. And today I get a chance to chat with Julie Palmer with Fresh Start Ministries. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
How's it going? We were just talking about the sun's out.
Loving the sunshine.
Spring is finally here. Well, let's just start with my go-to question during these interviews, which is somebody may have heard of Fresh Start Ministries, but maybe they don't know all the work that you do. So why don't we just start with the mission and the services that you provide?
Okay. The mission of Fresh Start Ministries is to provide care to people who are coming back to Linn County after incarceration. We work with people at the Linn County Jail, juvenile detention, both here in Linn County. So those are both in-facility sort of services. We do a lot of reintegration programming to somebody coming out of incarceration can come to what is called the RISE program, which is at the Wenzel Center on the 6th Judicial Campus, and can get services from assistance with employment, transportation. We have a computer room. They can check emails, all that sort of stuff. And then we have a mentoring program too. And the mentoring basically is more intensive, either a one-on-one or group where you have surround yourself with mentors who can help you navigate all those very hilly ride, getting reintegrated back into our community.
Absolutely. And we talked a little off camera about this, but day one, stepping out outside after being incarcerated, it's not like everything's just magically right there for you, right?
No, absolutely
employment,
not.
housing, that takes some time, and that also takes some preparation. Tell me a little bit about the process, because the work doesn't start once they've left the system. That you actually go in, your volunteers go in and work with your clients well before release date, right? And
yes.
Like, what do you cover exactly?
A lot of it is developing relationships when you're in the Linn County Jail, for example. And we also are hooked up with CoreLinks, which is across the state of Iowa. So anybody who's coming back to Linn County, for example, can connect with the RISE program before they are being released. Mm-hmm. That is really important because there's a lot of trust issues that and fear of failure is so huge with a lot of the clients coming out of jail. They need to know that they have somebody's in their corner, and more than anything it's a friendly face. I mean, it's a common face. A lot of times for example, when you're working with somebody, the whole demeanor is they kind of have that jailhouse walk. Mm-hmm. And that jailhouse look on their face. And when you have gotten to them, when all of a sudden they smile a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. Or they come and they will tell you some good news. There's nothing greater when somebody comes in and they tell us, hey, I got that job. And they are so excited because employment is such the hinge of how that person can go out in the community and live an independent life.
Absolutely. Well, and that trust, your
volunteers, huge.
Yeah, your volunteers recognize and treat each client with respect, and that's been a game changer for a lot of.
That is a game changer, definitely. We have about 150 people who actually give their time at the Linn County Jail. We have a jail chaplain as well, and it could be that they're attending a church service for the first time. It could be that they need information about what local resources are out there. It could be a Bible study. It could be asking the chaplain, say, hey, I don't have access to any clothing when I get out. So those referrals are made in the Linn County Jail to begin with. And it's really amazes me every single time I look at this data, but there's over 500 hours per month that the volunteers give to Lynn County Jail. And so that's basically, I mean, if you really think about it, that's neighbor helping neighbor.
Absolutely.
It's really neighbor helping neighbor.
Well, and a lot of your work requires collaboration and partnerships, which we've talked a lot about on this program. I mean, every nonprofit within Gazette Gives Back, those partnerships are so critical. Can you talk a little bit about the partnerships that you have or some of the big wins when it comes to collaboration?
Probably the biggest collaborations that come, and it's governmental agencies understanding that they can't do everything. And relying on, so for example, allowing 100 plus volunteers to go into the Lynn County Jail takes a really, Captain Steenblock has been wonderful with regards to allowing us to have access. We have to abide by the rules, do everything like that. But because the volunteers are willing to abide by the rules of safety and everything, that's the reason why we have this long-standing relationship with Lynn County Jail. We have been serving people in Lynn County Jail since 1972.
Wow.
I know. Blows me away too, And actually it kind of makes me laugh because it's like, can you just see it? A whole bunch of, they were all hippies. They were all going into the jail saying, hey, we got to help our neighbors and all that sort of stuff. And that makes me just giggle when I think about it.
Well, and the fact that the program has grown so significantly in volunteers and partnerships. Absolutely. Can you talk a little bit about the need, the demand? I mean, I know the need hasn't decreased over the last couple of years, but
incarceration actually across the state of Iowa is decreasing, which is a good thing. The one thing that is astounding, which per capita, Iowa is in the top 5 number of states who incarcerate their citizens.
Wow.
So when you look at that and you go, whoa, really? We do? But we do. That national data is a little on the scary side. I think it's what started probably about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, is that whole thing. 20 years ago, we used to take a person and release them, and they would basically put them back out on the curb within their time frame. So they got incarcerated at 1 a.m. They get let go at, based on their sentence at 1 a.m. So now we're at least a little bit friendlier, and we're understanding, well, that really didn't work. So there's a lot of Sixth Judicial works from a standpoint of real community-based reintegration, reentry sorts of stuff. And so that partnership has been phenomenal in helping us being able to get people jobs. I mean, because they do not necessarily have the funding to be able to help people with those sorts of things, finding employment, computer access, helping them get steel-toed shoes so they can start a new job. Funny thing is, one of the very, very first things that most people make decision-wise is what to wear.
Really? Wow.
Clothing. And it's really funny because, as a mom with 4 boys, I am always astounded because it makes these young men so happy to be able to choose their own underwear.
Right. And they're identifiers. Yeah.
Yes.
It makes them uniquely them. Absolutely.
Yes. And so those first decisions of being able to say, oh, I got to choose. I get 3 pairs of new underwear. Yes, you can have 3 pairs of new underwear.
Small wins, right?
You want black socks, you want white socks, those.
Absolutely.
And it's those really small sorts of things that allows them to be able to go, wow, I have choices. And sometimes those are the first choices they make. Oh, how I spend my time. Oh, all of those sorts of things. So, and we're pretty transparent. That's the nice thing about being able to work at programs like this is that the transparency and, like I will have young men say, well, I just had to find a good woman. And I'll look at them as, again, a mother saying of adult sons go, do you really think that's a good idea?
Like, let's have a moment. And
let's have a moment. And so they will look at me and they will list, they'll list the pros and cons and stuff. And I'm like, okay, so what happened the last time you did that? And then they will go, so maybe that's not a great idea. No, you take care of you get your own stuff in order. And all the rest of the stuff falls
into place.
place.
Absolutely.
And then they go, oh, okay.
That was something I was curious about too. I mean, there's such focus, rightfully so, of like just transportation, housing, employment, clothing, all those fundamental basic needs. I also just kind of wondered about just the like the behavioral dynamics of coming back to family, coming back to if somebody, was in a relationship prior to and is now coming out, those that have children. Is there work with the volunteers on that side of things as well? Or is that just kind of as someone brings it up?
It's ongoing. Obviously, we can't be the expertise on the counseling sort of things, but yeah, we try to head people. That's why mentoring is really important, and it also is a big case of how long a person has been incarcerated. I mean, 1 or 2 years is going to be not as traumatic as you have a young person who got incarcerated at 17 or 18 and they're coming out at 30.
Right.
And I had one guy, he goes, it's like coming out on a different planet.
Yeah.
It's like total night and day. I mean, it's amazing. I laugh at this part. It's like teaching somebody how to use a cell phone. And I looked at him and I said, I'm that age. I'm not 16 anymore. So yes, I can help you with those sorts of things. But using a computer, job skills is a big, huge thing because a lot of people, like I said, if they get incarcerated at 18, job skills. Okay. Right. I can tell you this much. In the federal system of things, there's a little bit more focus on education and job skills. However, on the state level of things, there is not. Mm-hmm. And so you will have somebody who spent 10 years in a state and maybe never even had, they might have volunteered here or worked in the kitchen or whatever. And some of them really just, they don't know who they are. And mm-hmm. So to ask those questions about, well, what do you like to do? I remember having conversations with lots of people. They have to come up with a resume and they're like, what am I going to put on this? I played football in high school. I dropped out. And I'm like, okay, you just have to get to the core of what do you like to do? Let's investigate this sort of stuff. And you'd be surprised. A lot of them say, well, yeah, I really like to work outside. Okay, now we're on to something.
That's a skill, right? That's a unique skill.
And most of the time they're like, that's a skill? I have skills? Yes, you have skills. So, yeah.
Well, that is very cool. And I know, Julie, you and the whole team do an amazing job of finding the best. That's a great example of finding the best in people and setting up these folks for success when the odds are stacked. It might seem like they're stacked against them, but the reality is they can succeed, and your team makes that happen. So I know volunteering is a little bit of a unique task for those that want to volunteer, but are there volunteer opportunities?
There's always volunteer opportunities. I would just suggest somebody go to our website, reply to the email, connect@freshstartcr.org, and basically say, this is what I want to do. This is, I have an interest. Always looking for people who want to go into the jail. I'll always want to have people who want to be mentors, really be back and give back. A lot of times it's funny, it starts is in a progression. Sometimes they'll start with the community-based sorts of at the RISE program. And then they may say, hey, I'd really like to go into the jail or whatever. And that gives us an idea of assessing whether that a jail opportunity would be a good fit for them or not a good fit for them.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, and it's in the best interest of that volunteer as well as the clientele that you have that are incarcerated. You want to make sure it's a win-win for both.
Yes.
Absolutely. That website one more time, freshstartministriescr.com.
I know, a long one. It's a long one.
Okay. No, that's good. That's wonderful. Well, Julie, as we wrap up, just want to say thanks again for all the work that you do. being around for over 50 years, obviously this has been a program that has had
Mhm.
tremendous success. It's evolved over the years, and it continues to be something that is oftentimes behind the scenes, but makes
Yeah.
such a big impact. And we really appreciate it. We appreciate you being a part of Gazette Gives Back.
No, we appreciate it. I mean, we really appreciate the ability to get the word out about what we do.
Thanks to all of our viewers for checking out another edition of Get to Know Gives Back. I'm Quinn Pettifer, and we'll see you next time.